You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menouno and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Bar Rescue After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Bar Rescue After Show.
If you get in trouble, bring it home to me.
Hey guys, welcome to AFTERBUZZ and the After Show for Bar Rescue, Season 3, Episode 16, When Life Doesn't Give You Lemons. Hi guys, I'm so excited. You have no idea. We have a duo tonight. We have Miss Mia.
This is so exciting. I'm like dorking out over here.
And Keven Undergaro.
I'm here every week. But who else do we have?
And me, Dorinda Barker. Oh, and then, I almost forgot. No, I didn't. Russell Davis. I'm so excited.
Part of the duo. So we
Part
have
of the duo.
the two, the #1 and #2 mixologists from Bar Rescue.
Well,
Just
thanks for even saying that.
so amazing to have you guys in studio together. And so, Mia, you're obviously very excited as well.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Is this the first time you guys are meeting?
Yes.
Shut your face. Oh,
And
sorry.
I've heard great things about Mia from all of the boys.
Oh, that's really sweet. And I see great things from you constantly everywhere.
Okay, I think I'm in love.
Oh.
Who is it? But
Thanks, Steve.
you're welcome. Anyway, I got Steven to laugh. Did you hear that?
That is rare. So I tell you, Stephen, Mr. Taffer would not be pleased because I'm looking at our show board and it's Mad Men season, let's see,
7
episode 2, A Day's Work. Yeah, so that's good. And then Russell's microphone's all wonky. So Russ, you want to spin that mic around so I to bore our fans? There you go.
Oh, perfect.
That's the wrong
It's
way.
the wrong way. I'm coming around over there. Keep talking, Dorinda.
Okay, anyway, so, all right, the bar is Pat's Tavern, and Pat's Tavern's been around for 70 years, and Pat's Tavern looks like it's been around for 70 years, which is great. I love an old bar, but what happens is Pat is 70 himself, which I think that was like an ongoing
All right,
theme.
let's just cut right to it. Pat runs the business like
Pat's running-
Maria runs AFTERBUZZ, and she even admitted it when we were. So my girlfriend Maria, we were watching the show together, and I said, "This is exactly how you would run a business." Even all her Greek family members that own all these coffee shops, and you know what? They just sit and just take money in, and not a dime goes back into the business. And you just watch it decay and decay and decay and decay. And that's what was going on there.
Well, yeah, exactly, because Pat liked to go and shoot game and put it on his wall.
By the way, we were going to go to get some nice barbecue and do recon last night, post-recon, but once Maria saw the gaming stuff, she wouldn't go.
I didn't like the gaming stuff.
Yeah,
either.
no. Too turned
Well, I
off
don't
by
know.
people who just kill animals for fun and not, rather than for food
Yeah.
or other
To actually
things, so.
utilize it.
Yeah, so anyway, that's enough about that.
Well,
There
no,
you
but the interesting part about that, and just to chime in for a second, is, as any businessman, you want to get to that point where you can just start a business and allow it to just succeed and make money. Unfortunately, his was not. And then he wasn't a good enough businessman at that moment to actually come in and actually realize that we have to change something. We have to do something because it's not.
No, well, he got there through John.
Yeah.
John got him to
Yeah.
realize that he was like, "Wait, I'm all set. Can't you?" It seemed like to me, which was getting me pissed off, and why I love John so much. I love this show so much. Is he was acting like, yeah. Well, make all the fixes for me, and then I'll do all your changes.
He
It's
said
like,
jumpstart the
give me
business.
$300,000 to give me the big facelift, and I'll do whatever you want after that. And how many times I hear that from even people in my business? Yeah, you do all of these things. then I'll change and that. No, like
that's not
they
how
don't
it works.
Exactly, and they don't realize that other people's livlivelihood.
oh, he didn't care.
upon it.
No,
Dependent on it.
he didn't care.
I mean, and think about it. Because we'll go into the recon. Because then we meet Vivian.
I loved her.
And she
adored Vivian.
She actually made me
Such a
tear
sweetheart.
up a
Such
little
a sweetheart.
bit. She made me tear up when she started to tell her story, and I was like, "Oh."
So
that's
Stephen,
so
there was an
sad. She
employee
was a
last night
stripper.
who was, but she was
She was an exotic dancer.
but she,
So I don't want to.
but she met the Taffer rules that I
Yes.
also apply, which
Yes.
is she was honest, she tried, and she cared. So she had all the ingredients.
Yeah.
Like you imagine having a whole staff of that kind of person, who loves it
I was
that
so
much.
impressed by her just
Yeah.
because, I mean, even before Recon kind of kicked off with all the really fun stuff
Yeah.
that I'm sure we'll get to, I loved her attitude. She was such a people person and she was doing everything right. Like
Yeah.
her hospitality skills were, I don't care what bar you were working in. She was amazing.
she was
Some of the best
trying.
I've seen.
She was trying. That's
Yeah.
honest, trying, and caring. And again, why I love this show better than all the other makeover shows, whether it's the restaurant space or in even the hairdressing space, was. Well, okay, I'll talk about Gordon Ramsay's show for he's the first 4 years. No, and I love him.
I know
he's a
you
great.
do.
He was my introductory to this show. Without that show, I would not be a fan of Bar Rescue. I became such a fan of that show that I obviously gave the show a chance, and then this show ran away from me. But at least the first 3 or 4 seasons, it was always the same thing. Gordon went to a restaurant, he took a bite of the food, he spit it out. Every single show. What I love about this show is if they were going to be lazy and just follow that formula, John would have been in the car in his recon and would have found something wrong. She's sloppy, her shirt's really low and revealing. I mean, he could have totally, if this show were produced in that cookie cutter way, they would have told him, this is your job. Rip them to shreds, and then we'll build them up later.
Yeah.
But he saw that she was honest, she tried, and she cared. So he had, as he said, I'll always have the back of people like that, and he had hers.
And in all honesty, it gives us something to work with beyond. We can train anyone to be a bartender. We can't train people to have passion.
No,
Well
I
said.
know. Right, Stephen?
Yes.
Right.
No, it's true. You can teach anyone to make a drink, but you can't teach people to actually interact. And it's the truth, because I've seen some bartenders, they're great. They can make a drink, they're efficient. And when you say that someone's efficient, that doesn't mean they're doing a good job. Because if they can't interact with people, then you're losing on your money, you're losing on them coming back. Because people, when you go into a bar, you want to feel like they're your friend in a way.
At home.
Yeah, at home.
Right.
I mean, anytime anyone goes into a bar, you want to feel like you're at home. And when so we had her, we had Danielle, who I love Danielle too.
Oh, and she was killer.
She was great, and she had 2 kids, so she was
great
and
too.
they
And
actually
fast. She was a fast
Yeah, she
bartender.
was.
Yeah.
Yes,
Love it.
I know. Sometimes that's what I miss. I miss that. So you have these 2 women, and they're the ones who wrote in. They were the ones because they cared about this bar so much. Because Jimmy had found love. Jimmy, the general manager, I would say, he took over.
Great editing, by the way. And, and I don't know if you noticed, but in post, they put in the smooching sounds for the kissing. So it was just really to turn the screwdriver and annoy you. And I mean, every time they cut to them, the kissing, the googly eye. It was
like they were still on their honeymoon, which is fantastic. Listen, I thought it was great, but not in the workplace.
Well, and the crazy part about that during the recon is that they were legitimately doing that. Like, it was, hours of that.
That's fantastic. That's amazing. And I didn't even think it being an act, because you could see the way he looked at her.
But I've seen
and,
it. I've seen that so many times in bars
that's true.
with couples that drink.
Yeah.
It's just it's
But
it's junior year
Yeah.
in high school.
But it's not-
And then older people.
It is so uncomfortable.
So
if I'm
uncomfortable.
it happened to me last week. There was a couple just going, right in front of me.
Well, but normally
you don't
it's
know
not
where
the
to
people.
look.
But it's not the people running the bars that do that normally.
I'm giving you. Dorinda is so starstruck by you guys that she's talking over her mic. I was
I
like,
had plenty of conversations with him on the phone. We have talked before. I even called her the other night.
wait,
'cause
so
she
you're
was
not
supposed to be-
starstruck?
No.
I am.
Well, maybe a little.
But this was the longest recon I think we've
Yeah.
ever seen.
Well, I didn't realize that until you actually say it. Yeah, it was a pretty long recon.
Yeah, because I mean, you go in and you watch what they did, and once again, as you're going back to, it's not cookie cutter and everything, because with John calling her, which was genius.
He was so crazy.
Genius.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Well, once you saw the pouring, I could get the other thing getting by. Okay, fine. He must trust. I was trying to defend her, and I said, okay, well, if I had my number one most trusted person there too, I'd be kind of kicking back or whatever. But
Yeah.
when the bottle came out and was being poured, and that's not even legal,
I
is
lost
it?
my mind.
mean,
Oh, with the 1.7s too, by the way. Who does that behind a bar?
well, when you see that happening, you clearly know it's shenanigans, and the fact that he still was.
Well, and that's what was crazy for me was that during all this process, the bar is thanking him for all of these shots.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Yeah.
you're welcome, you're welcome. And I was laughing my ass off about this because I was surprised that he would not even.
There was a great shot of you and John like laughing in the car. And
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
that is so crazy and so awesome and terrible. He was oblivious and like, again, you can't make this stuff up.
No, no, because the moment she started going around the bar and not even, you would think, okay, giving away the drinks if he's not paying attention. I get it. But when you take the bottle
When
out,
the bottle came out, that was it for me.
Well, the crazy part about it is that I can almost understand as a bar manager standpoint if you're using like a system like Micros or Aloha to where you can open up the drawer without actually having to hear anything. But they were using banger drawers, so he should have heard the ring of the register even opening each time something was sold or something was rung in. And so even that, like on top of it all, not actually watching or caring about them doing all of these shots, but then not hearing that. That was one of those things when I worked in a bar, if a banger drawer was there, you wait for the ring of the banger drawer opening up and down.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because then you knew. And if it happened too many times and something was going on,
Yeah.
you knew that somebody was hitting no sale a little bit too much.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they don't, old timers.
We like to call the silent partners,
Exactly.
right?
The Angels take, right?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
But should we just get right to when he addressed everybody?
Well, first I want to talk about the barbecue first, real quick, because that was a good part of the recon too.
Again, yeah, and it was honest that it was good food, just presented
it
poorly.
just presented poorly, and the fact that you would have to leave the bar, so you're leaving your drink, and then you have to get your credit card from the bar to go back. So you've opened up a tab and you have to keep your credit card there, but now you want to order food, so now you have to take your credit card and bring it over there to go get your food and leave your drink there. To me, I was like, who thought of this? Like, I was
No one.
like,
No one thought of it.
No, again, someone's shooting big game, and another one's making out with his girlfriend.
with holes all in the chairs, and I was just like, who lets a bar?
Wait, you have not seen this before? I've seen
I've
this
seen it
so
plenty
many
of
times.
I had an old friend of mine. There was a bar in Rahway, New Jersey. And it was called the Rustic Bar, and it really held true to its name. And I walked in with my friend Dave, and he goes, "Oh, they did this on purposely, right?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "The decor, like this is done on purposely." And I was like, "No, Dave." He goes, "You mean they really just let this happen?"
So back in 1970, it was probably called the bar, and then 20 years later, they go, "Oh, we have to make it rustic now."
So I was just shocked that someone would let this go. But you're driving around in a $90,000 car. You're going for game. So your money is just going to you, and you're not caring anymore about this. But what's going to happen when that's gone and you have no more money coming in? And no lemons.
And the problem for me is that he's probably got a few other businesses that money will be coming in, but to hire people that depend upon their livelihood for you to do something, that's another thing, you know?
Yeah, and they really love their job. So go ahead.
Well, I loved when John came in and addressed, first starting with the manager.
Mm-hmm.
And he went at him, and you could see the manager was emasculated. He was trying to find an angle to fight back, which most
people do when they're backed into a corner.
Yes, and then typically with people who aren't very mature.
Yeah.
You know, when again, they're making out like 8th graders. So he was trying to find an angle to fight back. Oh, you set me up pretty good. You set me up pretty, and he took his licks that night. But then, and I guess I'm jumping too far ahead, but what really impressed me was, again, another first, was the morning after, where it's kind of the come to Jesus. Like, okay, it always seems like it's, you said your piece, I said mine, but today we're here to work. He was like, wait a second, you know, you set me up, and he went back at John.
Yeah.
You know, and he went back hard at John.
Yeah.
I was a little shocked at that. I thought he wasn't going to do that. When he started going off on John, I was like,
No, because he had a win. That he was put the first night he was put
and
down.
that happened in front of his lady.
Right, and so the day 2, it was like he thought about it. What's my argument back?
It's the fight or flight reaction, right? You know, like, you know, you're backed into a corner and then you just find that window. You know, and you've done a few of these episodes as well. Like, in all honesty, on our end, we're not surprised by anything at this point.
It's true.
By the way, TV-wise, I'm glad he did. What I'm starting to get sick of is the ones who've seen the Taffer process.
Yeah.
So they're doing the, okay, right, I understand. I'm sorry, I'll do better. No, I like the fact that he was an 8th grader.
Yeah, right.
And tried to fight back. I, of course, was angry and was like, throw him out now. But John was like, and you'll be the one fired. If you don't, if you don't raise your game.
Well, you know, the great part about people fighting back is that once people fight back, you actually understand that they care. Because they wouldn't care. Yeah, they wouldn't fight if they didn't care.
Yeah, but wait, no, that's not true, because sometimes they're just fighting because of their ego. We see
That's-
that all the time.
that's-
It's like, oh no, my buddies from home are going to see me.
Absolutely
I'm going to
true.
look like an idiot on the show, or like you said, my girlfriend's here and I'm being put down by this guy. You know, no, you sat there and you drank all night with you.
Absolutely.
Who gets paid to just sit and make out with their girlfriend all night?
Absolutely.
Let's
But-
stop
but-
the madness.
But at the same time, fighting back is one of the telltale signs. Either it can work one way or another way, but you have to be able to judge that. And so that's actually one of those things that John's really good at, is that when he does push.
Oh, he's the best.
I mean, he
like,
pushes,
Yeah.
and he can judge by the way that they push back whether or not they care or whether or not they're just backed into a corner and fighting back, doing this fight or flight reaction.
Well, before that morning, you saw the deflection by over to the owner, where so the manager did the right thing and said, "Okay, yeah, I suck, but this guy sucks too.
Yeah.
he empowers me to suck." And when I was so mad about the lemons, but I was really the most violent was about the AC, because how many shitty bosses have we all had? Maybe you guys have had a better life than me, but I've had plenty of them that wouldn't spring for those. By the way, we have 4 units in this building you're in right now because of that. Because we're in the valley, it does get hot. It gets hot and how many? And Steven, how many AC guys have we thrown out of here because they can't? All the money we put into it and it doesn't operate right.
I can't even count on 2 hands.
Right, because the people, our hosts are sweating, our workers are, and for that guy to just be like, well, shrug his shoulders and be that typical guy who, I just want to make money and I don't care.
And you would think it would be such a simple fix.
Of course it is.
Be so understandable.
No,
Like,
but
people
they
are
never,
hot.
but they never, and I say the royal they never want to go to the bank and withdraw money ever.
Yeah, they never want to write the check.
Only for their rock star lifestyle.
Yeah.
But they never want to write the check. And it's that I was so. And when he's ever said, "Oh, you fix everything," then I'll make some changes. I've been like, you mother effer. Are you
You
kidding
change
me?
it all, and I'll upkeep it once you're done.
Yeah, once
and
you're
gone.
done doing all the bitch work and cleaning up my mess.
So I wasn't in the room when he said that, but when I watched the episode and saw him said that, I kind of did say, "You mother effer."
Oh my
I
God.
can't. And he goes,
Too many of those guys.
well, when they asked about the lemons and they said 6 months, he's like, "What's the big deal? What's the big deal?"
You're in a bar.
Exactly. Are you kidding me? If you don't have lemons and you don't have limes, and there's a few other things, if you don't have those standards, then how can you really run a bar?
It's like going to McDonald's and they don't have ketchup.
Right.
Yes. Or fries. It's true. And I was just appalled by him.
Again, but it was the AC that killed me because
Yeah.
because the
'cause
workers,
he's like,
everyone,
it's
because we know
barely
North
new.
Hollywood or wherever that it's in the valley.
yeah, it gets hot
it's
there.
not Vegas, but it gets really hot. And
What killed me was that he argued against it.
of course, they
Yeah.
don't want to go to the bank.
Yeah.
No.
No, his thing was it's fairly new. That's exactly what he said. So he thought there was not a problem. What's the big deal? And that's when he was like, well, there's football going on and people leave and everything. And I still couldn't believe that there were 60 people in there that night for recon with the way that place looked. I was shocked by that. But anyway, I digress.
What do you mean for the
when at the recon there was like 60 people. They had
Well,
mentioned that.
I know
and
that,
I was shocked.
but
by
I know
that.
that neighborhood, and it's it's conducive to that. There's within walking distance. It's one of those kind
it's
of
with the
bars.
Walkabout bar.
Yeah, I think. I wanted to see him wear a pair of antlers and go out and be hunted. I love that. That's what I want, you know.
The most dangerous game style.
Yeah, yes.
Oh my God, that is awesome.
Rock and roll, Kevin.
Yeah,
I think
I mean, God, they were like, they're not the worst we've dealt with, but
No.
never
And
mind.
then you see these girls that just truly love this place.
Like,
And
again, how many?
Vivian, just tears. you
How
know.
and what bothers me is that we see, even if you watch Undercover Boss and some of these other shows, you see so many passionate, great workers. Yes. So many shitbags. Steven's one of them. He's in the booth right now. But so many. You know, when you have people that are so passionate, how as a boss or a manager, an employee, you don't wrap your arms around those people. Steven, I am getting you tickets to the Kings game, so don't worry. Pat keeps bothering me about that. You and your brother, but playoffs too, by the way. But when you have those kind of great employees and how you don't wrap your arms around them, and then being a manager in the past, being a manager of MTV, as a head writer, and being in a Carney, we ran the biggest one-day event company. I ran in pretty much the Northeast and somewhat down even to the South, and I rarely had the staff that I see on some of these shows. You know, the few I had, I couldn't do enough for, but and to see that kind of treatment, you know, and I was treated. I had those kind of bosses. You know,
anybody
all
would be
through my
lucky to
life.
have Vivian as working for them. Danielle, Chad,
And the girl a few weeks ago too, that was also at an LA bar. Remember, they made her manager Zuzi.
Oh yeah,
Susie. It sounded like Susie, but it was a Z.
But I see some of
It's
these
like Liza
great
with a Z.
workers, and I love John. Always knows. You can see he just boom, he zones in on them. You know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's frustrating to watch.
Yeah, or then even watching, like, you know, how can an owner, and no offense to the owners, because they wrapped themselves back around and they killed it, but how can an owner look at an employee while they're crying and just begging them to order things and do things a little bit
To
better,
make it better.
to make their job
Yeah.
or their business better?
That's right. Not just give me more money. I need health insurance. No,
Yeah.
just for your business, dumbass.
So yeah, exactly. I could never look at someone in the eyes as they're crying and not do it.
Yeah, he seemed to not have a problem though there.
No,
for Roman.
zero problem.
No,
No,
That
none.
goes back to the recon when John kept calling into the bar and he kept saying, "How surprised are you that he hasn't noticed this?" And her answer was consistently, "I'm not surprised
Okay,
at all."
so the owner for me is in Antlers. The manager is in smaller Antlers, and the two of them are out there together as I shoot at them.
And they have a pocket knife
Yeah,
between the two
that's
of them.
it. That's all they have.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Anyway,
I think we just figured out how to hunt these guys
Yeah,
down.
that's it.
and the visual that's going on in my head right now is hysterical, especially in North Hollywood.
Yeah, let them run around on the streets.
Exactly. But it was actually the wife who somewhat came around too, saying you need to, because he said, well, he's like, what do you do? She goes, I'm a general manager.
He's a GM.
She's a GM. And he's like, this is perfect. We can build you into this.
And typical John, that's what I love, like just assesses the situation so quickly.
fast.
And he's saying, okay, I'm not getting rid of the chick.
No.
I'm not, there's no way.
Any one of us would have been like, get rid of the chick.
Yeah, she can't be here, but John's like, the minute I leave,
Utilize her.
this broad's going to be sitting here 24/7. So she has that experience. You're in love with your guy. If you're really in love with the guy, if you're really rooting for your guy, get behind him, help. You know, and I love it.
Well, so and if I don't know if you guys had picked up on this, but even towards the end of the episode, you start hearing her say things to him like, you have to do this. You have to do this. And she, you know, going through training with her off camera and doing a lot of stuff, she was not just a general manager of a restaurant, she's a very good general manager of a restaurant. And she understands.
I think she just she had a fun guy to be with.
Yeah, it was her
she
bar.
she
She hung
married
out with,
down. She married down. And I mean, I think, and it's like she's probably the breadwinner, whatever. So she's got, you know, she knows she can carry she knows she can be basically mess around.
Bam.
Right, because, you know, she's the one taking care of business. You can just tell him.
Russell, move closer to me.
Guys have to pretend you like each other.
Now he's in my
That's
lap.
perfect.
Can I buy you a drink sometime?
Right.
I didn't want to get the competitive spirit going, but man, would I love to see you guys go at it with the back and forth with the drinks. So what do we have? Because I know there's flair, there's speed. Where would you say? Because your flair and speed, right, Russell? Would you say?
I was actually, well, I don't want to talk
No,
about
no,
it.
it's okay. No, because me has won some awards, so we know with you too.
I was the guy that brought all of the standards of bartending back together. I was one of the guys. There was many of us, but I was one of the guys that I could rock it out behind the bar really fast. I could throw those bottles, and I could really craft a really good drink. You know, it's one of those things that everybody used
That's
to...
triple threat.
Triple threat, my friend.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's weird because I always used to get trained and I would get brought onto a bar staff and I would always get trained by someone. And they were like, oh, you know, we don't have time to throw bottles. We're so busy. But, you know, the moment that you look at another bartender and you have outrung them on the register and you made more tips and you took home more phone numbers and you had a better time, no one can argue with you.
Yeah, when someone says that to you, that means they're not doing their job right.
Well, you know, I never argued back at it. I just proved myself.
Do it. Actions.
It's true. It's so true.
But I've been very impressed by you as well because
Thank
you
you.
have killed it. And actually, one of the drinks that you did the dessert drinks, and I, in all honesty, have a sweet tooth, and I wanted a couple of them.
So, Mia, would you say your strength is mixes? What is your strength?
My strength is speed. Hands down. I mean, I'm in the service well Friday, Saturday night, Thursday as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the busy nights, there isn't really a question. It's just, but that's all coming out of my training for this national competition, Speed Rack.
Oh, you're doing Speed Rack?
I am.
Wait, you're doing it?
Yeah.
I am. It's May 8th in New York.
Yeah, she won
it's
San
kicking off
Diego,
Manhattan
right?
Cocktail
Who do we have
Classic.
to?
Yeah.
Who do we have to pay off?
Nobody. It's just like anybody's game, man.
So have you guys heard of Speed Rack?
Yeah, actually, we have a mutual friend who actually won.
So tell us about
Yeah.
Speed Rack. We don't want to get too far away from the episode, but
Very briefly, Speed Rack is an all-female bartending speed competition. 100% of the proceeds go towards breast cancer, hence all women. It is a speed competition, but speed isn't the only thing. If say you're making the same 4 drinks as the girl that you're up against, those 2 drinks are then put side by side and tasted. Judged physically, did you put it in the right glass? Is it balanced? Is it diluted enough? Is it cold enough? And then time can be added on, and it just goes like basketball brackets.
Yeah, it's no joke.
Oh, it's
I
hardcore.
I watched her train for it, and it was no joke.
Yeah.
It's one of the coolest competitions
It
in the bar
actually,
world.
yeah, I've seen.
and when
some
is
of them.
this?
May 8th
May 8th.
in New York.
In
That's
New York.
so awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the championship, right?
It is nationals. It
Yeah.
takes place in 8 cities across the U.S. and I am Miss Speed Rack San Diego.
How many people in
In San Diego, it started with 23 girls.
and how many people in New York though? How many?
There's the 8 winners from the cities, and then there's 8 wild card spots. So
How many in total?
16 total, but only the top 8 compete.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the best female mixologists in the world.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
wait, so there's 8 people. You're one of 8. in going to New York?
She's already eliminated a lot of the others already. She doesn't want to say it, but she is.
I
very
dominated in
exciting.
San Diego this year. I worked hard for it, though.
Very exciting.
That is
Very
just so.
exciting.
It's such an honor, and
It is to be a part of that group of women is so. I mean, there
That
aren't
is.
enough.
Yeah,
I am floored by the
Well,
talent.
you better win.
And what people say about women too behind the bar, I love it because it's no joke.
I love women behind the bar.
I know, but some people are like they're
No,
there
I don't
for
know.
the
I know we've
looks.
talked. Yeah,
So,
we've talked
had
about that.
conversation
No,
plenty of
women
times.
bartenders to me have always been more detailed, thorough. I mean, you get the ones with the attitude, then but there's.
They're always cleaner.
Yeah, no, really.
I keep a very clean
No, and I
station.
love that.
I'm
I
like
know.
OCD about my workspace.
I love that. Okay, let's get
Okay,
back
so,
to the
all right.
episode. So
All right.
we have the GM girl coaching the guy.
Okay, so now we're into the stress test. We go into the stress test now. So as we're into the stress test, how they were able to somewhat work with one well, I had never been more ticked off. Well, no, I've been more ticked off in other episodes, but ticked off for them. To be that busy and to work out of one well, it's almost impossible. It's stressful. It adds more stress to you because you're always moving around people and then you're always touching and hitting. And even though it's
the
not
worst.
done purposely, at some point, if you're
Yeah.
stressed, somebody just does it, you're going to get upset, which we saw.
And the heat,
Yes,
So
hot.
take it back to the carny
Add a
business
little bit.
when we would be in some of our trails with friolators, and it would be you couldn't have AC because it would all be open, and God, it had to be 150 degrees in there with the ventilators going, and it was the same thing. You're bumping into the person, sliding on the floor.
You can't reach for anything.
Yeah, so take a stressful situation and then decrease the degrees in the room.
I was just
Recipe for
hurting
disaster.
for them, and I just couldn't. I could not. And then Jimmy. Oh, Jimmy. So he's the one who's supposed to be running the food. Am I correct?
Yeah, he was supposed to be pretty much solving every problem because he's the manager.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so running the food, solving everything. You know?
Everything.
Yeah.
And that wasn't happening because the cowbell kept going. And then they're like, the credit card machine's not working. And Monique had to fix that. And then she says something to him and he gets upset. Well, everyone else is on me, and you're going to be the one, you're going to get on me too, blah, blah. And I was like, that's what a 5-year-old child does. That's what a child does. And it wasn't about that. She's just trying to show you this is how you can fix this.
And the crazy part about it is having your credit card machine shut down in a very busy, high-volume bar happens all the time.
Yes.
It is something that is one of the parts of the job. And so the fact that someone didn't know how to handle that situation is ridiculous. Yeah.
You're supposed to know every in and out of that business, of that particular
Well, it was
bar.
the GM girlfriend that fixed. I just unplugged and plugged it back.
Especially something that happens not all the time.
I just hit the reset button, honey.
And he's like,
I couldn't handle it. I was falling apart.
I had to hit the care button.
Yeah. But that one was the IQ button. I don't think he cared. He just really.
Well, I mean, at one point he's sitting at the bar. Like at one point he sat at the bar. You see how busy your bar is. You see that they are running around. You see your bartender go down in flames. She runs into the bathroom crying and he goes, bartender down. That's your reaction? That's your first reaction is bartender down? You're supposed to be running after her to the bathroom or give her that minute and then go knock on the door and say, listen, I need you back in there, and give her a pep talk, get her back out there and say, well, listen, we're going to fix this problem, but you need to get back out there now because look how busy this bar is and the bar needs you. That's what you should have done instead of say, bartender down, and then John have to go save her. And that was that's what John always
Especially
does.
someone that cared so much about it, because the only reason that she had to escape to the bathroom was because she does care about the business so much. You know.
Right.
And that's where I teared up a little bit because I felt so bad for her because she really listen, what would have happened if she lost this job?
Well, and
know?
also what I loved was her life. How this job empowered her, took her away from a bad life, or what seemed like it was a bad life. It did so much for her. Yeah, it was
It
bad.
changed her life, and if she was going to lose this, that I felt for her. I thought she had everything to lose, and I know that the other girl had a lot to lose.
Well, two kids, and
that's huge too.
In all honesty, in the entire staff, they actually, you know, because you get 42 minutes on air, but they actually really did a good job of bringing each other up. Like Chad, Vivian, Danielle, they, you know, we saw a little bit more of Danielle's story because of the fact that we were able to focus on it, but they actually each had their own little stories. And it was amazing to see how much they cared and how much they really brought each other up.
And like when they were sitting there after the stress test and how Danielle and Vivian were arm in arm, and I was just like, they love each other. Like they really care about each other. And that's the one thing like about the bar business. And I don't know if you saw this in the Carney business, but when you're working with people and you got a good staff, there is nothing better.
You're in the trenches
You're never
together.
You're never going to find
It's
better
like family.
people.
Yeah.
Perfect way to put it. The only way I can relate to it is you're at war together.
That's it.
Always, nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I'm confused by people who don't bond, quite frankly.
Yeah, me too.
I'm confused. You spend all these hours together. How do you not bond? And I do see people that don't. They're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
These are idiots I work with. And that just doesn't work for
And
me.
sweating and kicking people out and having to deal with impossible situations that arrive
And
in a
have to
bar.
protect each other.
Exactly.
You know, and when you don't have that in a fellow employee or bartender, for me, it just doesn't work. And, you know, I always say maybe if I run a big corporation of 1 million people, maybe that will work. But when you have a small business, I think of any kind, it's got to be familial and all that stuff.
Well, you know, what's very interesting about the trenches comment is and I can relate to it like no one's business. Like, I've always tried to describe myself. People always ask me, do you want to be the best bartender behind the bar? And I'm like, no. I want to be the bartender that at the end of your career, if you had to pick 2 bartenders that were going to be on your right hand and your
love
left
that.
hand in the trenches, who would you pick at the end of your career? And I would hope that everyone that I've worked with would pick me to be one of them.
I love
That's
that.
awesome.
That's a great way to look at it. And by the way,
Awesome.
I think if more people even looked at any of their jobs like that,
Yep.
I'd want to be the guy that you go to, that you go to battle with.
Oh yeah, because you know that they have your back, and that's just the law of life in almost anything. But
so at AfterBuzz we have so you'll relate to this, Stephen, where I won't pick on you. I'll just pick on Pat. So Pat is Pat. He's on our reality show Chasing Maria. He's a bit of a sociopath, but this kid can do anything. He's lightning fast at his work. He's terrific. Phil, on the other hand, cares desperately, works around the clock, and early on with the 2 kids, they fought a little bit. And I remember saying, Phil, here's the thing. I want you on my side. When we go up that hill, 100 out of 100 times, I want you by my side.
Right.
Him, I'm going to shoot him. That's going to get shot. So it's just interesting that you say that, because that's how I've always viewed it.
Well, I want every bartender, the moment that I step behind the bar from them, I want to be able to look at it and be like, we got this.
Yeah.
And then feel comfortable.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
and by the way, so we get hammering Steven. Steven I actually would want by my side as well. Steven's great.
Yeah,
He's great.
Steven
he's-
would fight for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'd take a bullet for you.
He's absolutely hard worker. He cares. He's very passionate. I harass him, but I mean, I had to harass him to get him there, right? You had to get Taffer, Steven.
Oh man, I got tackled hard.
You had to get Taffer, but he's great. But I mean, I look at it the same way, and I like to think that some of my coworkers and even my former bosses that would say the same about me. That's the guy that they want there.
Yeah, when you're ready to rock and roll, let's rock and
Yeah,
roll.
let's do it. Sense of urgency, always on the balls of your feet, ready to go.
Yeah,
And-
and to be honest, I want the person who's going to have my back, not the smartest person in the room, because they're going to jet. They're going to go because they're smart. They're going to go.
I hear you.
Oh, you guys got my back.
Well, I don't think that's true, because everyone around me is smarter. But that's one of the keys to success. No, but really, but one of the keys to success is you have to
surround yourself with amazing people.
always with smarter people.
Strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
Know your strengths.
But I think
know your weaknesses.
it still goes back to John's theories of they have to try, be honest, and care. I've always said hire for heart and train for skill.
Yes.
It's like Russ said, I can get them to 10 bar to put up the drinks the right way, but I can't teach you to care. That's the hardest thing. Again, I have, with a few people that I've had that haven't worked out, even that, like, Pat's a great example of somebody that is amazing at what he does. And my biggest problem has been getting him to care. He actually cares very much now, but getting him to care. Stephen always cared, but he had other issues.
Yeah.
But he always had, with Stephen, you always had heart, and hire for heart, train for skill.
So I do have to ask, like, when you're in those situations, because that bar was packed.
Yeah.
It looked like it was packed.
Yeah, it was packed.
Did you just want to get in there and just start?
I couldn't. There was 3
No, I mean,
people
yeah,
who
you
went
would-
well.
oh,
Even if I wanted to
sure,
get
even
in
if you
there, I
wanted
couldn't
to.
have worked my way in.
Get out of here, people.
That's
Let me
always
take
the
care
hardest
of it,
part
'cause
for
I
me
was
is being behind there, because people don't know who we are necessarily. So people are like, "Can you get me a drink?" Can you, it always happens during the
I
stress
saw it-
test.
I saw
happens
it
during
at
pre-launch.
our
They're like,
recon
"Can you get me a
with
drink?
you,
Can you make
yeah.
me a drink?" I'm like, "I can make everyone at this bar a drink, but I can't. I'm not allowed to."
I'll fucking rock it if you want.
No, wait a second, guys. A little bar rescue trivia. There was one episode
Where you got to make
That's
drinks.
right.
Yes.
I
But
was so
Is
jealous.
it because you were in Texas? It was because you're in your home turf?
Well, so I always try to actually get in. So even on the Pat's Cocktails, if you look in the background, I'm actually on the computer because the fact that 3 bartenders are on one well and there's no way to help them out. So if you look at me, I'm actually on the computer helping them bring in drinks. Because that was
I
the
didn't-
one thing that I could help out doing because I was not going to work my
But
way
I
into
love the
well.
one in Texas where there was like, all right,
Such
I'm
great
jumping
people.
in, and bang, you
Yeah.
start spinning bottles and banging out drinks.
Yeah, sometimes you inspire people, you got to own it.
Well,
You still
yeah.
got to show people you know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah,
Well, I
exactly.
know, because everybody seems to want to challenge you.
Yeah.
Like, they're the best bartender of Montana. Like, you're like, okay.
I popped a beer bottle open at Chili's. I'm the best bartender in the world.
Exactly. And I was like, it always seems to be you for whatever reason. And we always start laughing.
Yeah.
And we always start
Yeah.
laughing. Like, really? You're going to do really?
But by the way, I love it. So please, if you're going to be on Bar Rescue, if your bar gets rescued, challenge Russell, keep challenge me. Challenge them all because it's such better TV.
You're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I will too.
Maria is a fucking killer.
It's no, yeah.
That's a very big
especially-
compliment coming from you. Thank you.
Oh, I'm really loving this show. Anyway. But so here we go. We have our stress test. This all happens. It was just crazy to me, and he couldn't get it together. But at the end of the day, they kind of did still work together with one well. But John was ticked off about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, even if you can work together on one well, you're not going to be as efficient as a bar.
No, you can't be.
You just can't do the volume. You can't do these certain things. I mean, and it's even like the 1.75 milliliter bottles. We only touched on one reason why you don't use them, because it kind of overpour. But at the same time, you know, some of these ladies have to use 2 hands of pour, so you're not going to hit the volume that you're going to be able to hit with even liter bottles. So there's so many issues with that even if they were able to work cooperatively and efficiently on one well, it still doesn't work.
The thing that I was most worried about with 3 people in that well, it was such a small well to begin with, and like 2 maybe, but 3, that, I mean, there's so much recipe for disaster. I was waiting for 2 people to knock bottles together. If you break ice in that and have to burn that ice,
I was
you're done.
surprised that
You're
didn't, to be
done.
honest, I was surprised that didn't happen.
I know. I was
Because
waiting
the
for
odds
it.
of that were so high, and that's what I kept looking for.
And then it's 95 degrees in there, too. So you're in a stressful situation already. You're working in one well, you're sweating, and you're bumping into each other. It's just impossible.
Yeah, but but they did it. I mean, but John once again came in and said, we need these things. We need to get these things done, and promised them 2 wells. And then you went in the next day and trained them. And I like how you knew that they loved the bar so much that you named the drinks after them. But I felt bad for Chad because he didn't get a drink named after him. And I was like, what about that guy?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I did get him into the United States Bartenders Guild on the back end, and I still talk to him quite a bit.
Oh, cool.
I
That is very
love
cool.
Chad. You know, in all honesty, I try to keep in contact with a lot of the staffs. Oh, I do keep in contact with a lot of staffs, and I try to use my connections to help them out as much as possible.
That's the Taffer way.
Yeah, well,
That's
It's just, again, it's you guys. It's always the head of the snake.
Yeah.
So the head of the fish, right? If it stinks, it's everyone's gonna
Oh,
stink.
absolutely.
So you know that's why. That's because John does that. So you guys do that, and then down the line.
It's the John Taffer ideology.
That's it, and it just trickles down. And when you run your business that way, it's the same thing. And yeah, you can have a couple of bad apples, you know, in the lower body of the fish, but you can always get rid
Trim
of
that fat.
That's right, trim
Yeah.
that fat away. The other thing about John that as I watch every week that I watch, I realize why Spike and 3-Ball have such a score in their hands with him, because he not only knows more about this business than anyone probably in the world, he also is a great TV personality. But as I'm watching this, I'm realizing how great of a producer he is. He's
Yeah.
a really good storyteller. So he knows when to call an audible, and you can tell where it's like he steps out of the formula and says, no, we got a good story here. Let's keep going with it. Do you know, as a producer, how great it is when you have a talent that can do that? Chris Hardwick, who owns The Nerdist, and when I worked with him at MTV.
I love him.
Same thing when we were at MTV, singled out, spring break, whatever. He also had that mentality where he could go rogue, but it wasn't to serve
He knew what was
himself.
going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And with John, I just love that these are getting switched up, but I know it's not a producer doing it. It's
No.
John. He
He's a
goes
smart
in
man.
and he susses out the situation. Yeah, but that's beyond smart to be a storyteller. It's really hard because even working with so many hosts, Maria, to me, I say, is the LeBron James of entertainment hosting. She's the best in the business, best there ever was when it comes to entertainment hosting, because she's the first one to bring in a conversational style of hosting, not reading the teleprompter.
Yeah.
And now everyone does it. Maria was the first. And by the way, at ET at 22, they tried to make her, and she said, no, I'm going to do it this way. She held her ground, and the rest is history. But even with Maria, she doesn't have the storytelling capabilities I don't think John has. Sometimes she doesn't. I think they'll grow. But John, to not even be trained in our business and have those instincts, say, here's what the story is. And I suppose with Maria, when it comes to news, she does. Like, she's the one in the field. When she sees something, she's like, no, get off that. Come over here. When we're doing our reality show, as a talent on our reality show, I can't tell you how many times say Maria's dad and me are like, oh God, we're growing tomatoes now. Yeah, but because the cucumbers, Kevin, they're not growing. And then in the background, Maria is in a screaming match with Pat. And I said, guys, get the cameras off us and are you kidding me? Get over there. But I'm a producer. I'm not a talent. But the fact John's a talent, and at the end of the day, he's actually a restaurant man. It's just incredible that this guy has all these skills. And then to discover them all at this age, it's beautiful. It's so aspirational too.
Well, and John is a guy, and I would like, he's gonna own everything that he does. You know what I'm saying? He's a smart, good man, and anything that he does, he will be the best at it, and he tries his best at it, and he will be. And if he can't, he doesn't do it.
And that's smart. But here's the other thing of being in the business that we're in. We can all pretty much, if we're the best at our game and we're always doing so many things all at once, we can all be great producers. And that's what a great producer, you can see everything.
Got to see the whole field.
You got to see the whole field because you got to know what you're working with. You got to have peripheral vision.
And
you got to know.
But you have to have an instinct for what is the right story. Where is the drama? Where is the tension? What is compelling? Yeah. There's a lot to it,
Oh, yeah, there's so much
what's
to
the term for it? See the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about the most interesting, because we're host off the grill. The smoker. Let's talk about that thing. Have I been out of the game that long? Because that thing is amazing. That made me want to get back behind the bar for a moment. Just for a moment. Just because I want to play with that. That thing just looks amazing. Have you both used it? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, it's awesome.
And you don't want to know how I've played with it.
Oh my God. But anyway, now I'm blushing. Anyway.
Okay, so when I saw the smoke gun, I thought different. I wanted the owner in the antlers with that being blown up his ass. So, or whatever.
I was like, that's amazing. I could just imagine when you put that in the bottle and you shook it up and I was like, it just changes everything. Because I know when you smoke meat and you do all that stuff, and how the difference of just smoking meat is. So just to do that with a drink, I never once ever thought to do that.
And then you have to decide what flavor is actually going to go good against smokes as well. Like you can't just smoke anything and it's going to kill it. Like you have to know what's going to be cool, what's going to be good. And smoke, it's really surprising. I mean, and I said it on the show. I mean, it really is one of those dynamic flavors that's hot right now. It's a trend.
It is.
Right?
It's trending right now. It's mezcal, the smoky quality. Scotch is making a resurgence. Mm-hmm. Everything is about smoke right now.
I mean, I love, you give me a single malt Scotch, 12-year or above. Forget about it, like a Macallan or something like that. I like I do like the Lefroy 10-year. You go up more, like
you
that's
like the
too much.
Islay scotches.
Can't do it.
No, but then you go like to Macallan because that's a little smoky, but Lefroy is more mossy.
Well, what the thing about Lefroy, it's on a different area of Scotland, so it's actually on the islands. That's why it's called an Islay Scotch, but it takes in all the iodine from the ocean air being on the islands. So that's why if you smell it, it smells like Band-Aids.
Yeah. Exactly.
It does.
We probably should get to the recon because we not to the refit because we have a million questions for him about other shows. So once the place gets unveiled, it's beautiful. I think you have to remember too with the exteriors. I know that neighborhood, you're limited. You can't really go crazy with signs. There's all sorts of rules. Just pointing that out there, right?
I mean, I didn't know the area as much as John did. So yeah.
Yeah, and I like that they kept it Pat's. I like that the fact.
Yeah, there was no reason to change it.
That was the one thing I was from. Yeah, and it worked. And I like the way the color of the sign was black and white, so it was very basic but yet classy.
Dark gray on the outside.
Exactly, and because then you were bringing in the barbecue place next door, and there was still that difference.
And I don't know if you saw
separate.
really quick on the side. There was a quick shot. It was beautiful signage on the side that said barbecue.
And by the way, I was ready to tear that barbecue place apart because I am from Texas, and they called it Texas barbecue, and I was ready to be like, this is not going to be good. And you tasted it, and it was really good barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
That's good to know.
And I want to go to Bledsoe's, by the way.
Kevin's awesome.
But the inside, I thought, was phenomenal. That's what a facelift.
Amazing.
It was so talk about night and day. Like sometimes you see some of the rescues and they're definitely always different. They always look 100 times better, but there's still the semblance of the bar. This one I didn't really even see except for the bar itself with the darker finish.
This was so damn sexy.
It was so nice.
You know what I love too is the those lights on either side of the main screen.
Yeah.
Those would go great in a studio. It seemed like a white piece of acrylic, and it changed colors, something like that.
I
that
can
went to
kind
the
of
music.
remember, but I can't remember exactly.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I was actually at John where he got it because I love it.
I mean, they killed it. They killed it.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh, and I like that they got rid of the pool tables because it wasn't going to fit anymore for what they were going for, and then having the more tables, and it just was amazing. I was really impressed with it.
He fell ass backwards into it, the owner.
Well, you know,
beautiful renovation.
I mean, they were like freaking out about it. You know, and one of the cool things for me, and I think Mia knows this as well, like, so we legitimately film underneath the time frame that we say we do. And then we have a day after we have brought in the new menu and everything that we have to leave for 24 hours. And
within that 24 hours, they create that new bar.
Yeah, and
they don't sleep.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it when I went down to the recon we did.
But the crazy part about it is like they're bringing in the SWAT team of contractors. Like not just anybody. Like they had been staying in the hotel the entire time. So when I'm walking in after done filming on that day, because we've trained the staff, we've done everything. Like literally, they're walking out, we're giving each other a high five. It's the only time I see them all week. Yeah. They're in there. They're there for 36 hours straight, and they're fucking revamping it. And then whenever they're walking off, they're giving me a high five, and I'm coming back in.
It's crazy because I don't know. You might know her, Nancy Hadley. Do you remember Nancy Hadley? She was there for first and second season, I think.
I had met her, but I didn't work on the show.
Yeah, but she for the first season, I know she did all the rescues. She was the head, I want to say architect, I guess you could say, of doing all of the rescues. And we had her in a few times, and she's awesome. But what she said went into these things, and there was one episode where there was a tropical storm happening, and it was an outside bar. And she's like, we had to get it done in that 36-hour time frame, and they did it. They did it. There's only been one episode where they had to take longer, and that was one J.A. Murphy's, when it was basically the bar was condemned because the bottom was basically about to implode, and they had to take the extra 5 days. But that was the first and the last time they've ever done anything like that, and that's only because they had to go in and fix to make sure that it didn't fall in.
This crew works hard.
They are so remarkable, so unbelievably remarkable. Like John will get his vision for what they're going to turn the bar into, and together they just collaborate and make it happen. And the design team is so detail oriented that some of the stuff that they think of and come up with, the little details in the new bars are just so special and heartfelt. It's like what you were saying a few weeks ago when John put that photo on the wall from the Air Force guy.
Right.
It's personal touches that they still encourage and integrate, the personal stories that, you know, that long after we're gone, people can look to certain things and be like, oh yeah, that's cool.
When I was there too, and so many people were flying by John with concepts and ideas. He's like, nope, yes, do that. It's like how quickly that
he knows what works.
Yeah, his ability to make decisions really quickly is amazing.
Oh, I don't think I've ever met anybody like that. Never anybody can think that quickly on the feet because it's constant.
Great wartime general.
Yep. And let me tell you, I love the outfits they put the girls in.
Yeah,
I love because
very tasteful.
Very tasteful because they were pretty girls.
And now they had AC, so they
and
didn't
they had
have to
AC,
be in
yeah.
t-shirts.
Well, yeah, and you could see their faces. That's what I wanted to say because they were beautiful girls, worked hard. That shouldn't have been what the people were looking at. They needed to be
bar hags to
and to what they are now. Like I mean, they were legitimately very beautiful people.
Yeah, like seriously, I loved them both. Well, I didn't really get to know Chad because he really wasn't all that much. But I mean, the girls, I just fell in love with them because they were just so good. You really didn't have to do much work with them. You really didn't. Even the guys with the barbecue, you didn't have to do much work with them. So it was more about the bar. It was more about the two guys, and that's all you needed.
You know, I did a little bit of research, and the bar's still there, and they've held everything. They added the word sports, and I think it was probably because you guys put in so many flat panels that why not on a Sunday, have football. Why not call it, get that? Because I know that area.
Yeah.
And that's a great area for Sunday football. Let's go watch. You want to watch a game? Let's go walk into the bar. So I can see why they added that on. It's still mixology, but it's mixology and sports now. I know they do karaoke, and something went wrong where the manager was removed, but now he's back. Or he left and now he's back.
Yeah.
So now because I know that's the big thing. I think they even have T-shirts saying he's back or whatever. Like, it's like, okay, whatever. I don't know.
So I really liked this rescue a lot because it had more heart than, they all have a little heart, but this had so much heart because the people that worked there really.
All right, who cares, Russ? Tell us about the evil episode?
Oh, you want to get a little down?
Oh, please!
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
When they walked, you guys, because I have to.
Okay, Kevin, let's do this.
The most depraved group.
Let's talk about when they were beating the crap out of each other.
Just tell us about what was your take on them before you even saw the video footage. Were you fooled by them initially?
No. John and I were never fooled.
Okay, so go ahead. Do tell.
We gave them their due diligence. So, from moment one during the recon.
And by the way, for fans at home, what bar was it?
John walks out.
John walks out.
This
bar he walked
Council
out.
Bluffs, Iowa, which shares the state line with Omaha, Nebraska, and it was O-Face Bar.
Face, which is now replaced Pirates Bar. So we're 55 minutes in. Speaking of Pirates, we didn't speak about Pirates last week.
No, I know.
Because
O-Face has replaced it.
That's what happened.
Exactly.
No, Russ, no joke. Every single after show we've done for Bar Rescue, at some point, Pirates comes up. And now, because of O-Face, it doesn't. It just vanquished them.
So what's been very interesting, in my career, and I have been bartending and working in bars for about 12 years, and I know dangerous situations. This dimple is from a bar fight. Someone hit me so hard in the face to separate a muscle in my face. and I have a dimple.
Wow.
I pressed 7 assault with deadly weapon charges against people. I've been bitten twice. I had to get a rabies shot in my stomach from being bitten one time. I've had 3 knives pulled out on me and a couple of guns. And so I know dangerous situations. And recon night, I had to stand there behind John and take the stance that I was doing because John was having to handle a situation that was very, very dangerous, and we could not control it, and they could not control themselves. So from moment one, it was awful.
You knew that they were violent, dangerous people.
Awful.
It was just, I was amazed. I could not believe they knew each other.
By the way, I was not amazed because in the carny business, that's all we had. Those awful type of bosses. That's how they treated the help. The help is usually either so depraved or so addicted or sedated that they put up with it because no one else is going to hire them, and rightfully so. And for whatever reasons, I've been in the middle between construction and the carny business. I saw so much of that. So none of it surprised me. It just made me violent. It made me so angry.
It was
and I was
awful.
Scared for John. I was happy you were there. Because I know you can handle yourself. So it was like, no, but really, and by the way, you're the away squad. You're going into their territory. You don't know who's going to step up and try to be a hero.
And we're gonna handle it.
It was. John could not get out of that car fast enough. He had a hard time getting because he wanted to get out of that car so quickly, and it was just.
But tell me, what made you think that these are bad people?
Well, that moment, and we all felt that way.
Before you saw the footage of him, beating up.
It was literally, night one. But we still gave them their due diligence, and we tried our best, and we gave them every opportunity, and they want to argue, and they want to. Literally, we were sitting back just waiting for them to allow us to come in there and train them while they're arguing with each other about bullshit, and being violent with each other and fighting each other, and. At a certain point, I'll never forget because it was a very interesting episode. Of even filming because of the fact that I'll never forget John looking at all of us and being like, we cannot save this bar. If it is dangerous. It is dangerous for us to do this. I will not attach my name to it. It cannot be done. And for all of us, sitting back there and listening to that, it was surreal, hugely surreal. But we all knew, no one questioned it because we all knew it needed to happen.
That's just, it was just, because they would always go into that office, that pink office, and just sit there.
And drink and smoke.
And smoke.
And just
that
I was like,
Yeah, just
it was like, what did
evil.
they call it? The set, and Nicole Taffer loved what I call it. She actually put cesspool of hell. Like, it was just what it was.
He even talked about how my wife has my balls in a jar and keeps them in her purse. I'm like, what?
I was like, oh, that's functional.
It was just darkness. Tell me.
I have a quick question about that episode, real quick.
Go ahead, Steven.
The bouncer / cook guy. He was like the guy that was like
Sick.
That's right. I was trying to think of what his nickname was.
Oh, I liked him.
Do you guys ever keep in contact with him? Because he seemed like a pretty cool guy out of that whole episode.
So I actually keep in contact with a lot of the people from the episodes, and unfortunately, Sick is not one of them. Not because he did anything wrong. It was just
Just get away.
Such a bad
No, you got to
situation.
pull the troops out of Da Nang. Just get everyone out of Vietnam. Like that's
But
it.
he's one that
It's
gets
over.
left behind.
I did throw his name around the towns to make sure that if he was out looking for jobs, that he would get them. But unfortunately, we had to leave.
Yeah, just get
Yeah,
out.
it's
Just
just- it
get
was-
the hell out of Dodge.
Yep.
When you watch, so who've been some of the other supervillains that you've seen that you can recall?
Oh, the really bad supervillains in the shows.
Yeah, because to me, it's like that's Lex Luthor. They're the ultimate.
Oh yeah, I mean they
supervillains.
were. Yeah.
But we've seen some others. Who are some of the ones?
Well, actually, no. It's a
what-
good
the
question.
episode?
What do you think?
Well, I say it every week. I think the cockroach guy was he's pretty bad. He's pretty diabolical.
So gross.
That was another one where the bartenders, the staff, loved that place more than he ever did.
I mean,
More than he ever
I'm still not crazy about the guy that was trying to suck the single mother into buying his bar for a ridiculous amount of money. So just even trying that made me think. And
that guy
on the
was-
one hand, turning his back on his kid, and on the other hand, trying to suck this girl into giving all this money on a bar that's making no money and losing money, and so he's pretty despicable too to me. But cockroach guy is up there. in my opinion.
Number one for you.
Yeah, I would. Well, not number one because O-Face
O-Face
is
is
number
not-
one.
No.
They're definitely all part of the Legion of Doom. But the Lex Luthor for me is the O-Face. They run the syndicate. They're the number one, and then under it there's definitely other.
Well, what's interesting, and I think that Mia can relate to this, is that it's weird because depending upon the day, like we film for 6 days, and we're like hardcore film, and it is a huge day each day. So if you talk to us at day one, we'd be like, "This is the supervillain." We do not, and then you hit us on day 4, and we're like, "Actually, they're the hero."
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
And so,
But I'm saying, even
I've
as
never-
a fan of the show, not even obviously it's better for the times you're there, but even as you're watching.
Oh. O-Face was such a bad one. I mean,
I
it
don't
was
think you can
so
top
bad.
that.
Yeah, it
No,
was-
I'm not asking, but who else? Because I know.
In all honesty, in my episodes, okay, the dude that walked out at Rocky Point Cantina.
Wait, is that the one with the one?
Oh, he didn't even have the balls to look at me and tell me he was going to walk out.
Oh, that was the one with the family.
Yeah, Arizona.
And Eric,
Yep,
I was going to bring
Arizona.
that one up
Yeah.
as far as ones that I was so annoyed and the
The one
parents
that
went
the one
under.
that looked like a rave. It looked like
Yeah,
a
they
rave until
did
John
heavy
was done
metal.
It
with
was
it.
a cantina, and they had a death metal band.
Yeah.
Oh, it looked again. It was a warehouse that just was
And
run
this
for
guy-
drug raves.
And this guy was talking about he was the best bartender
right.
in the country. I worked in Vegas. I did this, and that. We were calling his
No one
connections.
knew him.
Yeah, he's like talking about bars that my friends manage. And I'm like calling my buddies, and John's calling his buddies. We're like, prove it, and that never happened.
Nothing.
And then whenever we did relaunch, and he had a problem with something. I think it was what he was wearing, but he didn't even have the balls to even look at me and be like, I have to walk out of here. He ran off.
I remember.
They filmed that. Just
And he pretended he
running,
was-
like, where are you going?
That was great. The sprint was awesome.
Where are you going?
I also
What's
still,
following you?
I tell this, John, too. The Canyon Inn. That guy was another bully.
Oh.
He was another bully, an ex-jock.
That wasn't one of my episodes. I did
No, I know.
one of the other ones, so I didn't know him personally.
Curious,
but yeah.
just on your take, because you must watch this as a fan, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was actually watching this before I got brought on season 3. So I literally started filming in January and ended up doing
Mia,
12 episodes.
Did you watch as well?
Yes.
beforehand?
Oh yeah.
It's amazing. So everyone,
It's a
great.
phenomenon in the
Most
industry.
people in the industry,
Even people
yeah.
that like don't work in these kind of bars and they're the pretentious cocktail people that exist. No one misses it.
Oh, you
it's the
can't.
cocktail.
Can't miss it. It is.
But
what a niche to hit.
Was that?
What a niche market to hit.
Well, what we're realizing now is is that the bar industry is in vogue. It is.
Yeah.
And so we have our time. If and I know I'm going to get a little weird by saying this, but if prostitutes was the oldest profession in the history of mankind, bartending is the second.
Second.
It is actually.
And
It actually is.
And we are mystifying people, and we are for the first time being able to. Well, John one is elevated the bar industry. And then it's people like me and myself that are fighting to elevate the profession of bartending.
Right.
And so now we're hitting.
It's happening, yeah. Mixology, and it's
we're
all
just
hitting
living
its
this
stride.
lifestyle,
And it
right?
makes me just want to go back to drinking a lot. Seriously, every time I see this, and I feel bad because I know John takes the business so serious, and he's not one that partakes as much. But I want to partake. And I guess, that makes the show even more successsul. But every time I see it, I'm like, let's get in the car. I want to go to a bar, right?
But so I think that's why, like, he works with people like me and myself, is because the fact is that we do partake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I have no problem looking at people and be like, I love drinking. I will drink, and I go out, and I love the idea of bars. And I love the way that it works out, and it will always be the way that I live my life. But when it comes to the rubber meets the road, I kill it.
Now, by the way, but I love that because, again, even in our business, I love the filmmakers and the TV people that love other films and love just TV shows. But we do have the ones who are like, no, I only like my own films.
Yep.
I don't watch TV or I don't watch movies.
I don't get those people.
I don't either.
I never get those people.
I don't either.
Listen, because you have to love what you do. You have to have passion for what you do. I did what you guys did for 17 years. I loved every...
Ooh, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's good. No, she's hardcore.
I knew I had to get out.
17 years, yeah. Sorry for
You
you.
get the twitch. It's time, guys! But every moment, I loved of it. I loved every minute of it. There wasn't a minute I did not, and I took a stand of, like, this is what I do, and this is how I'm going to be creative, and this is how I'm going to I just really loved what I did. And for what you guys are doing, I understand it completely, because you have to love what you do. It's very similar to, it is entertainment in its own way, because you are entertaining people. They want to come in and they're either going to want you to be their psychiatrist, or they're going to want to sit there and just talk to you, or they're going to say, hey, make me a drink. They're going to want to watch you do what you do.
They want the floor show.
Exactly. So everything. and they want it for just the price of one drink.
And I could care less about me. I'm the guy who cares less about that. I want the drink filled. That's it. I love the one. It's like, boom.
And we appreciate people like you.
But by the way, a lot of bartenders don't do that. The good ones who know, and it's, bang, there's the cold one. You drink
You
it,
have to be able
boom,
to
there's the next cold one.
read the clientele. It's like, the people that want the conversation, and the people that want to be left alone. There is a psychology behind it.
I always wanted to be the bartender that made you the best drink, and as soon as you walked away to the bathroom, I got your girlfriend's number, and you were still my best friend.
That's not
You
such a
were
good
that
bartender.
No. But not that I fulfilled any of that, but I was able to do that. That's what I wanted. That's what I...
See, now here's where I might have had you beat. Because I was the one that got couples together.
Oh, I got the same thing.
I was a master hooker. Have you talked to these all the time? I got them all. That again, I was speed and I was cleanup and I was not mixing.
Yeah.
But and I was strength. So it was lifting. We didn't have bar back, so it was lifting all the kegs. It was lifting all the stuff. I would do it for, and the other staff who had more experience appreciate me for that. But socially, no, I was always trying to get people hooked up.
I don't matchmake, but I've introduced a lot of people like, oh, you do this.
I get everyone
you
in the
don't know her.
conversation.
You guys need
Yeah,
to
you
talk.
guys should talk.
And I feel
I'm
like
that
I'm
guy.
probably
I've done that a
responsible
lot,
for some
yeah.
business
I'm that
connections.
guy. I was also
Like, where's my 1%?
I just met my girlfriend at the time,
Yeah.
so I was off the market. I never got into that whole picking up the process, but I definitely hooked up a lot of people.
Well, to me, that was almost too risky of a situation, because if you hook up the wrong people and they're coming back after this giant fight and they're looking at you going, why did you introduce me to that person?
Yeah.
But
No, but I think you risk more battles when you are flirting with the guy. Because by the way, as a patron, I've had that with, I'll be with a girl and the guy's totally hitting on the girl that I'm with, the bartender.
Oh, yeah.
I see that a lot. I'm
Oh, yeah.
like,
Well, I
really,
would-
dude, come on.
Yeah, I would never. It's actually I have a weird way of looking at this industry. So, Yes, I would never do it in front of the guy. But at the same time, it's like people ask me, how do you hire people in this industry? And the way that I've always told people that I hire people in this industry is I want to hire the person that's going to lie to me the best. I hire the person.
God.
I hire the person.
That's twisted.
I hire the person that is going to go out all night long on a bender and have a bunch of fun, drink half a bottle of tequila, and the next day when they walk into shift and I look at them and I say, how you doing? They say, I'm doing great.
Okay.
Well, think about that. Think about that.
And those were always the best bartenders for me. It's like, I would never tell people how to live their lives. I could just train them how to be the best bartenders.
Right.
No, I think I just rocked y'all's
Again,
world for
you
a
guys
second
just
there.
make me want to get out there and drink. I want to make a career out of it. It seems just so fun, so sexy.
Yeah,
You
it
know?
is. It is. But then
It's such a hard life.
It is a hard life.
It's got the wink,
gets
by
to
the
a
way.
point. It gets to a point though, like when I knew I was done, when someone would go, what's your favorite drink to make? And I was like, anything I can pop a top to. And like you knew you were done when that came out of your mouth.
And
You're
that's
like,
when Dorinda turned the corner.
I was like, it's time to go, guys.
Well, so it was always interesting for me because, John's, studied the science of things, and I always tried to go beyond that as well when I was doing cocktails and stuff. So whenever I first got into the mixology world or whatever people want to argue and call about, I would even study, like, looking at a girl's eyes whenever she tasted the cocktail that I talked her into and then seeing if they dilate so I knew that I hit her pleasure factor in her brain. When I asked them if they liked the cocktail, if they looked a certain direction, I knew they were accessing a creative portion of their brain. They were lying to me or they were telling me the truth. So there's a very scientific way to actually attack it, and that was always what impressed me about John is he scientifically attacked it, and I also did it, and I'll utilize that,
I mean, it's just what you guys do. I am so impressed with it. And every week you guys come, you've been here a few times now, and I love having you here.
Thank you.
And
I love being here.
It's so much fun. Come in whenever you want, Russell.
You're talking about me, huh?
Exactly. You live here now. And the whole thing is when I see you guys come on, you know it's going to be a great show, and you know you're going to learn something. And that's what I love about this show. And every episode I've learned something from John or from whoever's on, and that thank you guys for. And it keeps me still enjoyed, and then makes me go, all of a sudden I got Bruce Springsteen playing in my head, Gloria Days. So but it's great. But I just, unfortunately, I can sit here and talk for hours with y'all. And Kevin probably could too. But we do have to go, and I'm very upset about this. But we have our WWE people coming in, right?
Yeah, we're getting thrown out.
Yeah, we have our people. We have our wrestling people coming in, and they,
But John's
wrestling.
sending us a bar. Me inspired us. We put on a little table, and she was doing her magic. So we are going to have an AfterBuzz bar at some point in time. That will be there, ready to go, and we'll have to see.
I think me and I would probably bartend at it if you needed
Yeah,
it.
I bet you guys would be pretty good.
I want you guys to have like a speed off or something. That would be
A speed off?
That did not sound right. I did not mean it like
No,
that.
I'm telling you, I want my girl Dorinda to make the comeback. That's what I want.
All right,
Dorinda,
I
I
will
want
do
you to make
it.
a comeback.
I will one day.
How long
all
have you
right,
been
once
out
we
of the-
get the bar. Once we get
How
the
long
bar.
have you been out of the game?
I've been out of the game for a few years now. I've been out for a few years. So
It's like riding a bike.
That's it.
exactly. You know what? I'll do it. When you guys come back, I'll make drinks for y'all. When you guys pick a drink that you guys have banned, you have to let me know beforehand so I can get
All
the
right,
ingredients.
where do we
and I will
find you
do it.
guys? So, because we're getting tossed up.
Oh yeah.
On Twitter, tall_Mia, and Instagram, tallmia.
Okay. Russ?
Twitter as well, at Russell, RUSSELL _ Davis. That's it.
At Undergaro, chasing Maria Menounos Tuesday nights on Oxygen.
And you can find me on Twitter at Lula Cherry Films and on Instagram, Dorinda B1.
And Steven for taking the beating in the booth.
You can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, STPHENLEMIUX.
Thanks, Steven.
Guys.
Thank you, Steven.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you guys for coming in. It was a blast. And thank you guys for listening. And have a good night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.